Welcome to the Rook Chess Club's YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going over my first game back at the Marshall Chess Club, and I was paired up against Tani Adewumi, who is a very famous opponent, and I've never played against him before. He's a child prodigy, and he's now a FIDE master. And if you want to look up his story, it's very inspirational. I think there's even there's a book on Amazon that you can get about it. But yeah, definitely a very talented chess player and very talented tactically. So it was an honor to play him in this weekly tournament. He ended up winning the tournament, tying for first with an undefeated score, along with two other players. So here we go. I played pawn c4, and Tani goes for a closed English, which is perfect for me because I was studying the closed English, and I was studying the Great Snake variation. So it just so happened that I kind of knew what to do. I played pawn to h3, and again, openings are my weakest part in chess, so the fact that I was able to get out of the opening, good sign for me. So here we go. Bishop comes out, bishop to e3. I really like this h3 move, by the way, because it really cuts off some squares for black to play, and it also it doesn't commit to anything. You know, if they play h5, then I'll play h4. If they play the queen over, you know, we can choose to push. We can keep it here because we're still defending it. We're not going to castle right away, right? Pawn to a6, queen to d2, right? Getting that queen bishop battery going. And we're just not really committing to anything. This idea of like pushing f5, right, knight e8, and then f5, this kind of king's Indian structure is normally the way to go. But we haven't castled kingside yet, so they don't want to do that because maybe I castle queenside. So we're keeping the king in the center. I often keep my king in the center a little longer than I should. Rook b8 is played, maybe pushing b5 later in the game, and now knight to d5, and now the queen comes over, and now bishop, knight goes back, and now we're going to trade these bishops off, and now pawn to g4, and I really like this because, again, we're expecting f5 to come onto the board, but now we're saying, well, we're really going to fight for control of that square, so it's not so easy to play f5 now. Pawn to b5, where you just want to keep it locked up, capture, capture, and I'm really happy where my knight is on d5 right now. Queen goes over, maybe it's going to go queen to h4, try to attack the king side. Again, we haven't really committed to anything. We castled kingside now, so now at least we know, we're not going to go for opposite side castling here. Pretty even game, pretty happy with the way I'm playing here. Knight goes to g3. I really like this. I didn't understand his g5 move, to be honest, because now I can easily plant my knight on h5. I'm also going to easily get control of this f5 square. Look, 1, 2, the knight's here. I can reroute the other knight there. So I just don't think that was the strongest move. And in this part of the game, I thought, wow, I'm doing quite well. Pawn to h6, rook to d1. If anything's gonna open up, it's gonna be around here, I hope. This is one of the semi-open files. The only other one is here on the B file, but seems like black already got their rook there, so I don't want to fight there. I'd rather keep it pointed at the knight. And now king goes to h7, maybe going to bring the rook to g8, maybe just getting a square for this knight to go to attack f5. And now for the fun part, I played queen to e3, hoping that we see knight to d4, and this is the fun part of the game. We finally go for an attack, and we say, let's sacrifice this rook, but we'll get a knight and a pawn. So 5 points for 4 points. But you gotta love where this queen is. I love the control over the f5 square. And now we're fighting for two different things. Yes, you have two rooks, but you don't have an open file. I'm going to try to keep this very, very closed. So black kicks the knight. Knight moves back. And now c5, backwards pawn. Backwards pawn. My knight can go right back to d5 and get a great outpost. We can reroute the knights over here. So we're very happy with this structure. The queen goes back, threatening a discovery. Also, if I move that pawn, my light squared bishop becomes infinitely better than it was. Probably chasing the queen maybe to get the bishop a little bit more mobility. Queen comes out. We play check. And now we're actually going to take a pawn here. So king moves away. We take a pawn. and that's a pawn that's very easy to defend. Although black did finally get their open file, but unfortunately I have a knight and 2 pawns for the rook, so I'm chilling here. I also have a tempo on the queen. The queen has to move away. The knight moves over, and now we have this great e7 square, which we used later in the game. We're also attacking the pawn. So just very happy with the way this is going. Here, check. And this is where we had to stop because it's game 25, delay 5, which means these are going to be some very quick games. And unfortunately, I did, in fact, lose this position. Even though the bishop is very good, even though I got this passed pawn on d6, even though I have the outpost on d5 and the outpost on f5, and everything's kind of going our way here, I find the magical way to lose this game. Pretty much what happens, we traded off everything until it was 2 rooks per side, and they're trying to get this pawn, and the pawn was still defended. Sorry, it wasn't 2 rooks per side, but it was like a rook for like the knight and two or three pawns that I had, the 3 pawns that I had. I won another pawn as well, but in time trouble, I think by the end he had 3 seconds on his clock, and I had 1 second on my clock, and we were blitzing it out. I eventually hang a rook, unfortunately, and that's when it's time to resign, because with 5-second delay, he's going to have no trouble playing the rest of that game. But it was great to play against one of the best chess players in New York, really one of the best in the world in the grand scheme of things. The fact that I was able to hold my own in an opening, where openings are really my weakest part of the game. And the only reason I was able to do that is because I just happened to study that opening 2 nights before by sticking to the study plan. This was a really big positive boost, and spoiler alert, it was my only loss of the tournament. And I won't say if I won or draw the other games, but this was my only loss of the tournament, and I played quite well. So it's great to play Tani, and looking forward to the next game. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more chess content.